Recreation Day 22, Simple Car Maintenance.
Hey students, we're here today with my dad, David Talkington, and Marge, and they're going to show us some preventative simple car maintenance.
Okay, here we go. Hi folks, this is Marge, by the way. So the first thing you got to do is open the hood. Good deal. Okay, so you got to pop the hood. There's usually a little latch. This one lifts up, most do, some push down. You kind of just got to find that. Your owner's manual will tell you. Some hoods stay up on their own and some have a hood prop. Inside the hood you've got, usually it's going to be colored and it will have an oil something on it, or like a little oil can with a drip out of it, sometimes kind of like your oil pressure gauge. Anyway, you'll have a dipstick that will be engine oil, and if you can't really find your dipstick, the best thing to do is refer to the instructions, and that's the owner's manual, usually in the glove box on most automobiles, unless they're real old and it got lost. That happens. Probably look online. Your dipstick will have some marks on it. This one has 2 holes. Sometimes it'll tell you on there what's going on. This one doesn't, and I just know from experience that this last mark down here is the add mark. This mark is the full mark. In between these 2 marks is the operating range. If it gets to this mark and below, you need to add oil. On this mark, it needs a quart of oil to be full. And most cars that are sold in America today, the low mark, you need to add a quart to get it to the full mark. When you pull the dipstick, after you get it located and you pull it, you need a rag or a towel. You know, if you're at the service station, a lot of times they've got paper towel for you to use. Go ahead and wipe it off, and this is all with the engine off. Wipe it off, stick it back in there, pull it back out, and look at it. And you know, since I've pulled it in and out a couple times, it's got the tube all oiled up and it's hard to see where the exact line is, but you can kind of tell that most of the oil is right there about the full mark, and that's where it needs to be. Okay, if you need to add oil, there's an oil filler cap located usually somewhere on top of the engine. And as you can see on this one, I'll turn it around where you can get a better look. It tells you what kind of oil to use. 0 to 20, SAE, that's the kind of oil. When you go to buy oil, it will say that on it, 10W or 0W20. And if you can't find the cap, well, look in the owner's manual. It should tell you.
Okay, go.
Okay, windshield washer fluid. So if you run your wipers with the washer on much, you know, you're behind a big truck and he messes your windshield up or whatever, and you have to have that fluid to clean your windshield. Well, somewhere there's that emblem under the hood, and sometimes it's a reservoir you can see, but sometimes it's one like this that you can't, and you can just open the cap and tell there's not much in there. You know, I would keep it towards the full side, that way doesn't cost any more to keep it full. Folks, so checking tire pressure. That's another thing that's, you know, helps your fuel mileage, keep your tire pressure up, and it saves on tires, and it saves on the car too. Okay, we're going to check the tire pressure. Tire pressure is measured in PSI, which is pounds per square inch. There's a place on the tire that tells you the maximum PSI, which on this one is 50. You can see right there above my thumb. It says 50 PSI. That's the maximum amount you need in the tire. and which is probably where the tire needs to run. And one thing about tires, never run them flat, and never run them when the tire pressure is real low. In other words, if you look at your tire and it looks flat, it is. And get some air in it before you drive it anywhere at any speed at all, or it will ruin the tire. Okay, there are different types of tire gauges. As you can see here, you have a dial and just a regular straight one. These straight ones are more common, and some of them are about that much shorter. Okay, so we found out that the tire pressure maximum on the tire is 50 pounds per square inch. That's PSI. So checking tire pressure, a good rule of thumb is about 10 to 15 pounds below the maximum with a passenger car tire like this. Now pickup and something else, you're getting into a little bit different deal. You may want to go closer to the maximum if you're hauling loads. Okay, we're checking tire pressure. First thing you need to do to check the tire pressure is remove the valve stem cover. Where you put the air in is called the valve stem. It has a cover. This one's metal. Some are black plastic. Most are black rubbery plastic. So your air pressure gauge has where the valve stem connects to it. And so what you do is you put that hole on the valve stem, and you press firmly where you don't hear the air leak. You'll hear air come out, and then it won't, because you've got it sealed. And you want to look at the pressure on the end of the gauge.
And action.
Okay, one thing I really would like to point out about tires is the fact that you can't drive with them flat anywhere. If the tire's flat, it needs air in it, and if you drive it flat, it ruins the sidewall, and you've got a potential hazard there. The tire is going to eventually blow out if it doesn't blow out as soon as you put air in it. If you've driven it flat, don't air it up right away. It might blow up.